Got to get rid of that. All right. Good start. Welcome, everybody, to podcast number 107. We have some of the regular crew. We have myself, Dexter Wiseman. We have my wonderful twin brother, Tim Wiseman. We have Daryl Bradley. And we have Adam Weber, who's pretty much become a full-time member of this podcast again. So, welcome, everybody. How's everybody doing? Welcome. Happy birthday, Adam.
Oh, a couple days ago. Thank you very much.
You look great for 75.
How many Facebook messages did you get? I mean, you put it out there to everybody else. I hope that you got like 300 or something like that.
A little less than that. I don't know. It was just over 200 or something, I think, which was nice, and a bunch of phone calls and text messages, and definitely felt loved.
Nice.
Definitely getting old, man. Holy.
I made sure to send you the exact cheers that you send everybody else.
That's the best part of the message, man.
Totally, absolutely. The beer, absolutely.
Copy paste.
That's it. Daryl, how are you doing, buddy? How are you feeling this week?
Me, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling better. I had a really bad day Monday, but I think it's because of the medicine I took Sunday night and flushed everything out. But yeah, no, better today. Just really managing diet. Obviously, you had mentioned earlier, Dex, that I look like I'm down some weight. So yeah, I'm back into college weight now, guys. So we're we're well under the 200 mark, or down to 188 pounds. So from my highest, I'm 40 pounds down. So, but you know what? Feeling good, managing things. We'll be okay. So thanks asking.
You've always had like that chiseled sort of jawline, and every week you're coming on here, you get more and more chiseled.
Perfect. Well, you should see the rest of me now. It's like, and I can see the rest of me now too, and it's pretty impressive down there. Let me tell you.
So, what about Italy winning the Euro Cup there?
Oh, they beat your England, so.
That's all right, though.
You know what? It was a decent game. I mean, a couple of good goals. Honestly, the penalty kicks. It came down to selecting guys who just played in the 119th minute and put them in cold, right? So that's a tough position for those youngsters to go in and try to take a PK. I've been there before. It's a tough spot, man. Not playing all game, watching and knowing that likelihood they're going to go in and take a penalty shot. Mm-hmm. And they didn't have a touch on the ball and didn't really have a feel for the game or the goalie, and whatever. It's a tough spot for them. Kudos for them for stepping up and taking the spot, but so be it. Good on Italy. Italy, honestly, I think played a better tournament. England had a really good tournament too, and I like the way that England plays as far as knocking the ball around. But Italy played a solid tournament. Their defense was so strong. Their midfields and forwards knocked the ball around, just pure class. So, yeah, no complaints with Italy winning. Yeah. Good on them. So,
yeah. Italy had a better, had a tougher way to go through. I mean, after England beat Germany, they had two easy teams to go through, right? So
yeah, I mean, nobody's really easy at that point, but I get what you're saying for sure. Yeah. So it was, good tournament. Happy for Italy. Happy for England for making a final. I mean, they haven't gotten that far in however many years, so it was kind of cool.
Right? Once again, it's not going home, so they don't really mean that when they say it, right? So, but absolute worst case scenario for Italy winning. Now I got to deal with all the Italian family, right? But I agree. They were the best team in the tournament. I think the best overall team. And what a complete change from not even making the World Cup 3 years ago to now all of a sudden winning a major tournament. But regardless, they have to change that rule. You cannot finish a big tournament like that, a big international tournament on kicks.
I don't know what else you could do. You can't really. I mean, you can't
golden
just keep
goal.
Playing. I don't know, man. You're gonna get guys will get tired. They'll get hurt.
That's the idea, though, right?
I think they got it. They do have it right. I mean, I know what you're saying. It's a long time. I mean, hockey does it. They do the golden goal, and you play 7 periods before you score a goal. But I don't know. I'm fine with it. Is what it is, right? So I agree. It sucks, but they all know that's what it might come down to. And how many games at the end came down to a PK? So
that's crazy.
Well, no, just the final, I believe, should be a golden goal. World Cup does it.
Yeah.
right? The biggest tournament in the world. This is probably the second biggest tournament in the world.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason that penalty kicks should decide the final, in my
I know.
opinion.
Yeah, I know. What do? Go down to 5-on-5 or go down to 8-on-8 or something? I don't know, right? Like,
That would be super fun.
you know, they're limited in the number of subs they're allowed to make, right? So you can't all of a sudden start subbing in a whole bunch of fresh guys. I think it's 5 subs you're allowed to make in the course of the game.
Now, it used to be 3, right?
used to
So
be
now,
3.
now that you have 5, why not?
Yeah,
Right? And now it's just management again.
yeah, I get it. I think the cool sporting event, though, fellas, is Novak Djokovic winning the Wimbledon tennis tournament, right? And now he's got 20 major wins along with Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer. I mean, all 3 of these guys, we're lucky to be in a generation of 3 of them winning 60 tournaments, majors,
Totally.
grand slams,
years,
I guess,
yeah.
right, in the last 18 years. It's pretty special, right? So,
Yeah, honestly, like I'm not a big soccer fan in any sort of way, but and I'm not a huge tennis fan, but I absolutely love watching Nadal. Nadal for me is like what I'd love to see from people in bowling, just like literally just leaving everything out there at all times. Federer is so precise. He's so rhythmic. He's so calculated, and Nadal is like, to me, is like the complete opposite of that. The guy is just so quick. He's all over the court. He dives for everything. Is like, I don't know. I love the no give up in the guy, and I will cheer for Nadal forever. You know, kudos to Djokovic, but I'm gonna cheer for Nadal over Djokovic.
yeah,
every day.
and I cheer for Federer because he was
I'm
the
a Federer
original
guy.
great,
Oh, totally.
right?
Federer
Yeah.
guy.
But
Yeah.
Djokovic is just so good, man, and classy, and I've liked him more and more over the years because he's building a personality and realizing that that's part of what he needs to do, right? So, you know, but yeah, like Brett says, there's a couple of really good representation in men's tennis too. I mean, see Shapovalov or Felix getting far. You know, Milos we know is still in there, so
Yeah, remember-
Canada's in a good spot there for sure.
Everybody remembers when Milo showed up at TPC that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
got him to throw the opening ball. Yeah,
Yeah, I remember that. That was pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, you know,
awesome.
I'm a Federer fan. I always thought he was silky smooth and he was just his backhand was very good. But
I think Federer is my favorite, like as a personality. You know, he's just the classiest human being you'll meet. But I just love the way Nadal plays. I can't believe he's still able to play.
well, and that's sort of what Shapovalov now is, right? He's a lefty, plays similar, you know, power
Yeah.
game. So there's some common things happening there. Hopefully,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I just love watching the best of a sport play at that like ultimate level, right at the final of a tournament. Right, it's a pure class versus pure class. Can't go wrong.
Absolutely.
But how crazy is it? Women's tennis compared to men's tennis. Women's tennis is completely wide open. Serena's not the same anymore, and it could be any one of 25 ladies that day, right? That wins the championship. It's completely
Totally.
wide open.
How do you think somebody like Andy Murray feels? Where Andy Murray's been phenomenal, but he's not even in a conversation because you have
No.
those 3 guys. It's crazy.
Yeah.
a lot of those guys are right. Medvedev, right? A lot of these guys, but at some point in time, one of the younger guys have to step up and start winning some Grand Slams. So and they will.
Well,
It'll start happening soon as
Federer's
people start
finishing
getting older.
up. Nadal's almost getting old, right? So
Yeah.
How about Kucherov in his celebration?
Oh,
he's
that's
taking
awesome, isn't it,
a
though?
he's taking a full Ovechkin, isn't he?
you know what? I thought it was great. You know, I thought his press conference was awesome. I know there's maybe some Montreal fans here. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was great. And you know, the Stanley Cup maybe is not in one piece. If you saw maroon,
Yeah.
You know what? But the nice thing about it is all of a sudden that cup is going to Montreal for repairs. That's literally they're sending it to Montreal to get fixed. And I think the irony of that is fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah, that makes me laugh.
yeah. Mark Bush talks about Vladdy MVP. That was cool in a baseball game. I mean, he had 2 hits, but I guess that's enough to win the MVP. What,
He had
sac
one
fly
hit.
and
It was
No,
just,
he had
he had 1 bomb. He was 1 for 3.
Did he also have another? No, he was 2 for 3.
No, he was 1 for 3 with a 2-run shot for 2 RBIs.
Oh, I thought he saw his second hit that he had like a sac fly or something.
it was
Okay.
a ground out. They got an RBI dex. It was a single home run. And
Oh,
it was
okay.
a ground out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha. But
It was
yeah,
a
good for
ground up,
him.
he's still
And he
red.
called it. I love the fact that he called it to Gurriel Jr. and Springer and said, "I'm gonna go win the MVP." And those 2 looked at him and said, "Okay, well, if you don't win the MVP, don't come back home." And then he ends up winning it. It's awesome. I love Vladdy. He's, you know what? It's so fun watching him because it looks like that guy's having fun all the time, literally all the time. I saw a fun little video of him the other day with I think it was Ty France, and it was just him chatting with him on first base because Vladdy was hit and he was on first base, and Ty France, or he's sitting there talking to Ty, was like, well, Grichuk's gonna hit a double here and I'm probably gonna score. And he's like, you think you're gonna score? It's like, yeah, probably. And then Grichuk goes up and hits a double down the left field line, and he scores in from first. And then Ty France walks over to the ump and goes, he just told me that Grichuk was going to score a double or hit a double, and he was going to score. Man of his word. I love it. He just so much personality. It's great. That's the thing that we need in sports, and it's sure makes the game fun to watch. So.
Big game tonight. I think our guest coming on tonight is a bit of a fan, so we'll chat some basketball maybe when he comes on.
Yeah.
But how about some bowling tournaments? Now I see Toppler ran a weekend doubles tournament. That was pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see lots of happy faces and people back in the game and smiling and playing, and we see some decent stats from that. So that was nice. What do you guys think about that one?
It was great. It was great to see people bowling again, right?
Yeah. And it's just nice to see the support for centers. It's nice to see the support for, obviously they lost their mom, Leslie, there. And it's just nice to see people supporting for the right reasons and, seeing the community come together. And it's awesome. That's what this game is about for us, right? So it was super cool to see.
And a little bit of normalcy. Did you happen to see who was on the bubble, the money bubble?
Oh, was he? Was he?
Wolfson and Rich.
Yeah.
Did only 8 get paid?
Yeah.
I got the stats right here. I was gonna give him a shout out. Good job for being top 10, boys. But,
that's awesome. Well,
I guess
the world
that's
is
not
right
good.
again. The world is right again.
Wolfson, right?
So that's too funny.
Was he 10th?
Ninth.
They were 9th. Yeah.
Oh, it's even better.
Top 8.
And they were in 8th, and it looks like Mike Petruka and Honish were the only ones from the shift 3 that came to beat him, and they beat him by like 20 sticks. So they would have been sitting on the bubble for the whole third shift. Oh, funny.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but it was great to see a lot of people, our friends in Calgary and Southern Alberta, that came together and play and take pictures and just to get it out there, right? That the sport's alive and well, and we'll continue to do good. Now, I'm sure Bowl, you guys have your tournament coming up next weekend, so a week and a half yet, right?
Yeah.
The Boxing Day doubles in the summer, which is sweet. So.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be huge. It's going to be a drunken nightmare, I'm sure.
Yeah.
For shifts are full already?
The final 2 shifts are. The 5 o'clock and the 8 o'clock shifts is. We have a 1:30 shift that still has some spots left. I think we have 10 spots left in that shift.
Yeah.
So, yeah. 22, 32, 32. Nice. Turnout for team. Yeah. Awesome.
That's good.
Super excited. Nervous. I don't know when the last time we ran a tournament was. I got to figure out how to use, bowling tournament manager all over again. It's like, whatever. We'll figure it out.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
So I just would like to thank our sponsors. Alley Cat for supplying us beer every week. Thank you. I actually ran out, so I don't have it in front of me. I drank it all this weekend. But thank you to Alley Cat and your continued support. And as always, thank you to All Star Bowling Sales. Couldn't do this podcast without you. Really appreciate it. We are running a giveaway again this week, and we have switched up the giveaway again. It will now be All Star Sweepstakes for this week.
Nice.
All Star Sweepstakes. All right, so get your entries in right away. I'd like to thank all of our Patreon members. Again, could not do this podcast without you. You guys are the reason why. This is self-sustaining, so cannot thank you guys enough. And we'll run our All-Star Bowling Sales commercial and then bring in our special guest right after. All right, so our special guest for the week from Winnipeg, Manitoba, we have Mr. Kyle Young.
Hey guys,
How's it going, buddy?
Welcome.
Welcome.
Can't complain besides it being like super hot and not getting any rain ever.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? We've been in the same boat, but I mean, I guess ultimately it's better than being in BC right now. It's 41 and humid, so.
Well, we're not too far away from all the stuff that's going on in Northern Ontario. Like they're pretty bad. And Northern Manitoba, as far as I know, there's a couple going on right now. But yeah, you get the haze in the morning and just really, really hard to breathe and stuff. But summer, that's usually what it's like here.
Yeah. Hopefully it breaks soon. I know it's supposed to be hot here for another 4 or 5 days, but
Yeah,
you think that you'd never complain about the heat, but it's hot. Like it's now.
Oh yeah, forecast here for the next 10 or 12. I think everything's going to be over 30.
Right.
And like rain wise, so far, usually I think July you're looking at like 93 mil or something like that of rain, and like we have like 3.
Wow.
Holy crap.
It's bad. It's not good. It's not good for the farmers. So
Did you see the post of in Death Valley, California? It was like 134 degrees or 130 degrees, like Fahrenheit, obviously, right? But it was like 54 degrees Celsius. I've driven through there. You drive through there from the way to like Palm Springs to go to Vegas, and it's literally Death Valley, complete wide open space, and you can just see the heat bubbling off the cement. It's gross. But yeah, imagine
it's
like 54 degrees Celsius.
Imagine working
mean-
in that. That'd be miserable.
Oh, you can't work in it, man. Yeah.
well, even just thinking about construction guys that are out like when it's plus 38
Yeah.
with like super high humidity, like that sucks.
In their coveralls, right? Like they got to
Oh,
wear
yeah.
their safety gear. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a few buddies that work for like Suncor and stuff, and they have to be out there in complete full safety gear, and I could not imagine. My man boobs would not be happy with me at all.
We need to develop air-conditioned coveralls. Yeah, I said it first. I got it. Yeah.
They got to be out there.
They got
Have
it.
this.
Yeah.
Have the swoop protector.
That's right. Just 2 fans built in the radio.
Yeah. Something
I
like,
like it.
there's the heated ones, right? What's the name of the brand that
Milwaukee.
Oh, Milwaukee.
Milwaukee
yeah.
has the
Yeah.
heated jackets, right? I sell a bunch of those, but yeah, and let's get air-conditioned jackets now. Yeah. A little battery pack,
Completely agreed.
a little fan in there for.
They got air conditioned seats in cars. Come on, you gotta find something.
Yeah, but I'm too fat for those. My body goes to the seat so well that it doesn't let the air out. Doesn't do me any good. Doesn't do me any
They
good.
fall into the pockets.
That's right. The only thing that cools off is my
Overheats the
That's
fans.
about it.
My air conditioning is not working in my truck right now. So I had my starter blew on me the other week. So I'm looking at a new truck. So here's the first poll of the day, people. Can you help me out? So I'm looking at either a Dodge Ram Longhorn or an F-150 Platinum. But the Platinum has the massaging seats, which is nice. But the Longhorn has the different sort of redneck brown interior. So that's what I need to know. To either go the Longhorn or the F-150 Platinum. But the air
Is,
Get
conditioning.
the Raptor done.
Is
Get the
the
Raptor.
wife going to be driving it at all?
Maybe here and there, but not likely.
Massage seats.
Massage sheet. Yeah. First of all,
Priorities.
Kyle, you're a bit of a sports fan. What do you got on? You got a picture behind you. You got an Expos cap, and then what's your jersey you're wearing?
Obviously, Suns. Can't cheer for the Bucks. Got to cheer for the Suns. Raptors are out, so if it's anybody, I'm glad it's the Suns. I used to be a pretty big Suns fan in the '90s when Barkley was there.
Oh
So, yeah. So break out the retro Nash jersey.
Yeah.
It is a Nash jersey.
Yeah.
We had Mr. Mitch Davies asking if it was, and he nailed it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like it.
I'd like to see CP3 win a championship.
Yeah, that's what I want. Or even Booker. Booker's been playing besides
So
this
good.
series so far, but he's been playing so good, and he doesn't get like the recognition that he should. Like kid's a monster for being that young. Like
Yeah.
it'd be nice to see that. Even Ayton, the way that he plays is really interesting. Like kid's got great footwork, but he's he's unselfish with the ball. So
Yeah.
Kyle, are you playing Mario right now?
no.
That's someone's ringtone.
Yes,
That's awesome.
somebody definitely just got a mushroom.
Somebody probably texted me. Yeah, it's either that or you get the Legend of Zelda. You get the chest opening. Maybe that one will pop up too.
Legend of Zelda. That's a good one for our video game chat we had a couple of weeks ago. I played a lot of Zelda, let me tell you.
That's right.
As a video game nerd, I played everything.
Yeah.
Get the old school Contra with the Konami code, or
Yeah.
Streets of Rage on Sega Genesis or whatever it was. There's so many like hilarious games to play.
Yeah.
Toe Jam and Earl. There you go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Before your guys' time, probably.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know half these games.
Haven't heard that
one. Oh, that's awesome. What was your favorite game ever?
Favorite game ever? There's too many lists. There's lots of them. Obviously, I'm a big Smash Brothers fan.
Oh yeah, good choice.
You guys have seen my leg tattoo, probably.
Yeah.
Like me and my best friend Chris, that's literally what we would do when we were in high school. We'd go play that or GoldenEye. We'd have GoldenEye tournaments or Smash Brothers tournaments at his place. So you get like 4 guys coming over and just play that for hours. It's great.
I miss the days of GoldenEye. Like, those were legit the best days. Just everyone getting in the same room, sitting on the same couch, and just swearing at each other.
Yeah, no golden gun, no odd job.
Yeah, that's right. Slaps
Like
only.
chops only or whatever it was.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Was that a new one?
No, that wasn't me. That wasn't me.
Someone's
We're just
playing
gonna
around
analyze ringtones for the evening.
Now tell us about
So-
tell us about the jersey you got hanging up behind you too.
Celtic FC. So it's a team that I've followed since I was a kid. It's in Glasgow, Scotland. They've probably, I'm trying to think on how many titles. Basically, between them and Rangers, they got the majority of titles for SPL. I think Celtic hold the record with 14 straight titles or something like that. But yeah, so this is from 2002. It was given to me from one of my family members in Scotland that did a lot of stuff with Celtic. So it was good to have. Yeah.
That's a neat piece of memorabilia. That's awesome.
So were you watching the Euro Cup too? What was your take on the final?
I didn't really watch after my team got eliminated. Yeah, I saw the group, and basically, you can play against the teams, but your team's only going to show up against one team, and that's probably going to be England. And yeah, that's exactly what happened. We get used to it.
Yeah.
It's been like 24 years since we advanced, so we're all right. Or actually, no, we didn't even get out of the group that one either. We lost on goals.
Well, at least they're getting into the tournament.
Yeah. Well, it's not the World Cup, so it's easier for us to get in. Yeah.
And then last question before we go to bowling. Last week we talked about potato chips. What's your favorite potato chip?
Favorite potato chip?
Yeah.
I'm a Cool Ranch Dorito guy.
Yeah, there
That's
you go,
a
boy.
good choice.
Yeah, me
That
too.
is solid. That's Brad Wilton's favorite too. That's his breakfast. Every morning he gets up, goes to work, eats a bag of Cool Ranch Doritos.
Wilton.
Nothing wrong with Cool Ranch.
I'm not even joking.
Yeah, nice little brekkie. I like it.
Oh, I love it.
Good.
I
Well,
love it.
let's chat some bowling there, guys. What do you think?
Yes.
Sure.
So I guess Kyle, we always start off with going back to the early days. Where did you learn to bowl? Was it a family sort of history thing, or buddies in the game, or
Yeah.
where did things start for you?
Mostly family kind of stuff. My dad was a pretty big bowler back in the 70s, and I guess when my brother came along, he stopped bowling. So that was 78, 79. So when Callum was old enough to go into bantams, he enrolled him at Windsor for bantams. And I think when I was 4, I started throwing balls with my dad. Just obviously couldn't do anything, but I just started liking the game because I was watching my brother play, and basically got hooked from there. Everybody else in my family bowls. Like my cousin, he used to bowl He used to bowl Uptown, or no, Academy West, so that was Village Inn back in the day. I think he still bowls Wednesday nights at St. James. But yeah, family brought me into it. And haven't really taken too much time off besides a little spell later on in life.
You said your dad bowled a lot. Was he competitive, and did he play any of the the
I
championships in some of those
played in
tournaments?
some of the men's leagues and stuff in the city. Average, I think he was averaging around 240-ish when he was really playing. A lot of the names at the time were like like Glenn Sproul. Trying to think of a couple of the other guys, Jack Johnson, like Don Van Dale. Like they were all playing at that time, so they played in a lot of those leagues, like the men's leagues at Dakota and some of the other places.
Nice. Is Windsor still around right now?
It's still there, but it's not. It closed down. Must have closed down 6 years ago or so now. And they're still trying to find a buyer for it. Haven't heard anything lately on anybody taking up on it. So it's kind of going to be a hard sell though if you don't have any leagues left and any kind of guaranteed income to come in. Just to rely on walking to start, yeah, it'll be a pretty hard start. It's a good area. Like there's a lot of houses and there's seniors homes and stuff in the area. Like it's a good area, but somebody's got to really love the sport to take that one, right?
What is it? 12 lanes, 16 lanes? What are we?
That's
what are we
10 lanes. 10 lanes. As far as I remember, I'm pretty sure around like 2004, they had like a flood and they redid everything. So all new synthetic. Basically, they gutted the place and redid everything from what it was before.
That's crazy. And they're just sitting there with lanes and machines
Yeah.
just sitting in there and nothing.
Sitting there, lanes, machines. Still runs Pro Score, but everybody knows how to use that, so it's good. But like that's what I mean. It's still really
I'll tell you how
relatively
you
new equipment. Right?
You rip it out and you throw it in the trash.
Wow.
That's crazy that it's just sitting there and nothing's happening.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, like, I guess the optimistic side of me is happy that it hasn't been just ripped out and had like some other business go in there. Hopefully somebody takes it over because, like you said, if it's got that location, seniors leagues are a huge moneymaker, and that should be easy. Make a deal with the seniors homes and bring it.
Well, and that's the thing with the center that it's in. It's a basement, right? So it's hard for them to find something that's going to go in there. So like a bowling alley is still perfect for that area and that mall. It's just finding the right person to do it. Wants to put the time in. But even going back there when it was still open, like I think we had a Masters tournament there in must have been like 2014. And you go downstairs and like it still feels like home. You spent so much time there growing up that it's always going to be home.
Yeah.
I think everybody feels that about their YBC, where they played their early days. That's
Totally.
back to your roots.
Yeah.
That's your home base, right? Like it's just
Exactly.
being a sense of comfortable. So in YBC, did you start to play some of the, the 4 steps tournaments? And,
I was really active playing. Basically, I played almost in everything that we could in there. Like they used to have basically monthly house tournaments at different alleys. So you travel around and you play at Coronation, Rossmere. Like you go around the circuit in Winnipeg.
Right.
But like 4 steps. We'll put it that way. I was a decent bowler going through, but like I have a box of provincial medals. I don't have any golds. I never made it to nationals in YBC. Closest was probably like I know Bantams. Bantams, I believe, was singles, and I lost to my friend Steve when he was bowling. I think he was bowling out of Polo Park, and I lost to him. He went to nationals that year. And then the next closest time that I remember that we had a really good chance was must have been our last year at juniors. And that was still like full team, like before they started going down to like 4-player teams. And we had the lead in the last game, and one of our players, I'm pretty sure he fouled in 10. We ended up losing by 11 pins to. I'm pretty sure it was the Dakota boys team. and like they went on. I think they did all right when they went to nationals. But yeah, those were the two closest, and then seniors was kind of just. We always wanted to kind of do the super team because West Payne and I grew up together.
Oh yeah.
So that was always kind of like our dream was me, Wes, Steve, like our age group guys all wanted to go. And yeah, we never passed that out when qualifying. Somebody always struggled with something. Wes was always the top guy, so he was better off just being the single. And then he had bad luck too. He ended up the year that he probably had his best chance of winning the single, he ended up breaking his hand. So we basically, I think it was a volleyball game or something like that. So we literally lived at the lanes like for a couple of weeks. He learned how to bowl with his right hand. Just to bowl in the provincials.
Trying to make it work.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Close.
He was phenomenal. I miss seeing Wes at tournaments and stuff because he was so good. He's such a good dude, and it was just
strongest mental game that I know. Like he was unfazed when he was up there. He was just so focused on. He knew exactly what he needed to do.
Yep.
And
I remember watching him throw that perfect game in Toppler at the Autumn Open, and it was,
me too. I was sitting on the bench watching it right in front of me.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. Like I think you made like 20 grand or something. I won the tournament and he still tripled or quadrupled what I won.
He was on 3 and 4, wasn't it?
1-2.
1-2.
1-2.
I think it was 1-2.
I think it was 3 and 4 because I was reading. It was where the hot dog machine was near the bathrooms, and all I remember was Robbie Shanis was sitting beside me, standing there. He's like, "Timmy, if West throws his strike, we're getting arrested tonight." And he threw his strike, I was like, "Guess we're getting arrested." And I was like, "Okay,
Yeah, let's go, Robbie." Yeah.
let's go, Robbie." Yeah. But it was a hell of a shot, though. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
he was on
he's
that
a
side.
great player.
Yeah.
100%.
And we had him come spare because he's back. He's been back in Winnipeg for a couple of years now. So we had him out to spare a couple of times at our Super League on Thursday nights. So it's pretty funny. The first week he comes out, he's like, "Yeah, I don't expect much from me." So I averaged like 240. Like, it was ridiculous. First 2 games, I think he had 10 hits, 11 hits, or something like that. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, good for him. It would be great to see him come back to all these things and
Yeah,
start competing
that's. He's got a young family starting, so hopefully, if we keep bugging him, he'll slowly come around and come back.
Well, we have to work on him. We have to work on Shanis.
Yep.
Hey, Janice is already bowling. He's already bowling back. He's been back in our All-Star League there, the Super League, for the last couple of years. He was bowling. He was bowling on my golf buddy, Roland. He was on his team this year with Scotty Barber.
That's awesome. Now we just have to drag his ass out to things.
Still like silky smooth.
Oh yeah.
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 One of the best shots I've ever seen in my life.
Absolutely.
The quietest release you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Totally.
Exactly. Yeah, you never hear a bounce or drop, right?
No, and most of the time that's not a good thing. Like, 90% of the people, that means you put the ball down, you got nothing on it, and Robbie just has a way of just releasing it so smooth and just shatter pins.
Yeah. The rotation on that shot's still ridiculous.
Now, obviously, let's chat about the Shanis family, obviously, a little bit. I know you obviously grew up with the Shanises and at Windsor, and obviously they spent a lot of time there. How, being around them must have really motivated you and just the whole community. Yeah. So talk about us a little bit more about the Shanis.
Yeah,
obviously the recent passing of him. It's obviously sad.
Yeah, like Norm was just, it wasn't just like the kid. Like Norm was just a legend, period. It's just everything about the man. Like he knew when to say the right thing. He didn't go out of his way to like coach kids and stuff like that either. But like, he'd make sure that like if he saw you struggling with something, he'd come around. He'd mention something. Like even Joan did the same thing. Joan was always awesome with all of us kids when we were growing up, and like that's the other reason why that place just felt like home. Like it was, just having them there all the time was great. And Janice, obviously, when you're a kid and you're basically watching this teenager just tear people apart in adult leagues and stuff like that. It was just awesome to see. And Rob's always been really good to me. He's kind of like an older brother, and he knows the right thing to say too, right? So you always just look back and you cherish those memories you have with those guys. Trying to think of something like just you go back and you think a lot of stuff with Norm and just the stories that he could tell you about like all these tournaments that he would go and play, like when he played like the Western Canadian and stuff like that. Just some of the stories from it are like some of them are like super funny. Like there's one I can't remember what year it was, but I remember I think it was they were going to play. They were playing the East, so I guess West and East, right? So they were part of the Western team going to play in Toronto or something like that. And he was saying, I can't remember the bowler that it was, but it was like a Toronto guy. He was like one of the top bowlers, and he kind of made a remark in the elevator. He didn't know that Norm was in the elevator, I guess, or didn't know who he was. About, I don't even know why they're having this because we're going to wipe the floor with whoever comes out or something. So he's like, I heard that and that pissed me off, and I wanted to just go and kick his ass.
Yeah.
That was always a good one. But
he realizes later, he goes and says, by the way, I was in the elevator when you said that. So thanks for the motivation.
Just rub it in afterwards. Yeah, just even just all the stats that Norm would like he'd keep all these like clippings and stuff from like papers about when they used to write articles and stuff in the paper. And he had like stuff from like, I guess when he was out in BC, like he still has like all of that kind of stuff. But like he'd remember like some of the craziest stats about like just some of the top guys across Canada. It's always great to know he'd fill in people like the history of the sport. Yeah.
I would love to see like bowling back in the newspaper. On just and I wonder what that would take, Tim. I wonder if that's just something that the E5 needs to pay for and like submit to the Edmonton Journal or something like that, and just have an entry into the stats page,
we've
once a week or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Can't you write your own articles and send them in? Does that work too?
Yeah, several thousands of dollars.
Perfect.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I looked into it.
To start a blog, it'll be
for us. I even looked into Sher Park newspaper. For us, it's it's almost like $300 or $400 an edition, just for like a small little piece in the corner. Like
almost be better just like to post an ad in the paper and just talk about bowling.
Actually, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Well,
That's what you have to do because they don't cover the sport. So instead, your only option is to put an ad in. Like, how does that make sense?
You put an ad in, and then you write whatever you want up in an ad based off of what it is. So I think we're going to do that with Sherwood Bowl, with our youth leagues and our YBC and adult leagues once a month. We talked about doing that. But it'd be like a quarter page instead, and then we can write it up and do all that kind of stuff. Start doing that but the biggest thing is right now is how many people actually look on newspapers. But now it's online; everything's digital with it as well. So that's a bonus. Yeah. So it'll be okay. Yeah.
But you're right. It has to shift. It's not newspapers anymore. It's online content, and if it's not going to be the Edmonton Journal, the Edmonton Sun, it's got to be the Edmonton 5-pin or the Winnipeg 5-pin or the Alberta 5-pin, and drive traffic to our own internal articles that to get the awareness out there.
Yeah,
that's unfortunate.
I wonder how if that would create some sort of buzz. Yeah, Tim, you used to sit there and read the sports page all the time. Sure, it's a lot of the older people that read the newspaper nowadays, but it would be neat to see, and they'd see high scores for the week or see high scores for the month, and stuff like that, and high pins over average.
Might be something to look into, like even if you could do like a digital, like if you could get on the digital part of the paper or something like that.
Yeah,
there's a ton of people that just do digital now. They won't get the physical copy.
Yeah, both rates would include digital and physical now. So,
Oh, okay.
So, question out there for anybody watching and listening: does your local bowling get into the newspapers or onto the advertisements on a weekly or a monthly basis? So, and what channel do you use to update those stats or write those articles? Does somebody write them for you, or does the sports commentator come and cover it, or how does it work? But who's getting information out there on a regular basis? We'd like to know about it.
I think the biggest key is for somebody just to actually write it, right? There's no stats or anything on any of the websites. As long as somebody writes it, then all of a sudden you can drive traffic there through, even Facebook or, through some other online, media. But there's nobody writing that stuff right now, right? Once that happens, I think people can get on board.
Maybe we run it through the 5-pin universe, which is fine, but maybe you need 10 volunteers or a group of ambassadors across the country that will write a weekly article or a monthly article about their local sport, submit it to 5-pin universe, and then we'll begin to build that column. I think that's a great idea. Maybe there's a way to go, right? So,
and you probably save significant money as well, right?
Yeah.
You just have to get somebody that's really on the ball, like say like when like high games and stuff like that, like even qualifying tournaments and that kind of stuff. As long as you have somebody phoning in to it sounds crazy, but like AM radio stations and stuff like that, they're all associated with the papers. So if you can get at least somebody there to know about it, they also write articles too, right? So you can get kind of that whole thing processed. Like I know some of the other stuff that's happened, like even like when you look at YBC with when Caleb bowled perfect game, right? Yeah. Like you got that on a lot of the sports stations, and that ended up coming into the paper and like the prints and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a matter of getting the stuff out there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's being proactive, I guess, with calling people.
Well, maybe we'll plan something a little bit as we get into September leagues. We'll put a group of writers or ambassadors together that can write something for 5PNU on a regular. So we'll look to that. But anyways, let's back to you, Kyle. Good chat there, guys. But you throughout the youth, obviously, it sounds like you quit bowling at an early age, at 19. What drove you to sort of step away from the game? Was it
it's you bowled like your whole youth and growing up and stuff like that, and I was playing basketball at the same time, and so I was kind of always balancing the two. Like provincials for basketball and YBC were always kind of at the same time. And then when we were finished YBC, when we started getting into like the adult stuff, like I don't know if it was more my shyness. Like obviously I'm not the same anymore, but like back then, like I was a pretty shy kid. But going to the adult stuff, like I think I guessed it in one Masters tournament. And I just felt so out of place. I didn't feel comfortable. Like, I did know some of the people that were there, obviously. Like I knew Rob, I knew Jeff Bourne, like I knew some of those guys. But, I just didn't feel comfortable to be in that atmosphere. And it didn't, like, it's weird to say, but it didn't feel welcoming to me like everything else was in the sport. So I kind of just grew tired of it. And, I kind of halfway through the year, I just said, I can't do this. And just apologized to the guys and said, I gotta go play ball instead. I'm having more fun playing basketball than I was bowling. And, I go back and I look at that and I kind of regret it because there's, I might have been a better bowler like this whole time. I might have been a better coach. Like, you have regrets about everything in life,
For sure, but you know what? I get the decision. I mean, ultimately, you have to do what's right for you. And if at that time you're not enjoying bowling and you're enjoying basketball more, I mean, that to me feels like the right decision. You can look back at it now and regret it, sure, but like, at that time, if you're not enjoying it, you're not enjoying it. If it feels like a job, why are you doing it?
Well, and that's the main thing. Like it's always the same thing, and I tell kids that now. It's like there's going to be times where the sport's hard. You just got to always find the fun part in the sport, because that's when you have to start questioning it. When you're not having any fun, like when you're focused in it a little too much, there's an issue there. So you got to find out what the issue is.
Yeah.
So
I've been there before too. I've taken my breaks. I've stopped league bowling, and done a couple of random tournaments here and there. Because again, you're right, just not having fun. My anger was getting to me. It was better for my own mental health and physical health to not be at the bowling alley as much as I was. So I had to step away. I don't necessarily regret it. I don't really live with a lot of regrets, but I definitely sort of wish I was mentally stronger to stay and play or do something a little bit different or treat it differently. And I know, Adam, you're going through it right now. You could kind of in that, I don't know if I want to play again, right? But you're just, again, you're probably just worn out and tired of it, and I've done it so much that I just need a break, right?
Yeah, and especially with you walking away at 19, Kyle, could you imagine you walk away at 22 completely frustrated with the game? You may never have came back, right?
yeah, like that's the other side of it too. It's obviously it was a good enough reason to do it because when it came back, it was like instant that I was having fun again, and I wanted to get better. Like I don't know if that was you come back and you just, but I don't know. Like it's fun, but maybe more of the regret part of it is what happened when I was playing basketball. Maybe that was what ended up making me regret the choice. So, yeah.
So what's the hardest part? Like, how long did you take off?
Took off 9 years, I think it was. Came back when I was around 28. Just something to do with the wife and with one of our couple friends. And
Nice.
Just I think it was just a suggestion. It's like, hey, like let's just go do something together, like as a couple, right? And it's like, okay, why don't we go here? So we ended up choosing Park Alleys, and it was right between the two of our houses. So worked out. Ended up, I guess the Forbes family owned Park for a long time, so I was comfortable bowling in their center because my grandparents bowled there. That's where my dad bowled when he was a kid because that's on Osborne, so the Fort Rouge area. And ended up meeting a lot of awesome people at Park, and that kind of got me back into playing the sport.
Yeah. So, what was the hardest part about coming back? Like,
Yeah.
I think the hardest part is your expectations are probably here, right? And then you're probably a little bit down here, right?
Like you come back and you're like, in the back of your mind, you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna come in here, I'm gonna average like 235, 240. It's gonna be awesome. And then it's like, man, I'm so fat now. It's like I gotta learn how to bowl again. Like I quit bowling and I was playing basketball like 3 or 4 times a week. I was pretty cut. Like I think I was like 190 pounds maybe. I came back to bowling and I was like 230. It's like, okay, I can't throw the same way I did. I can't throw a backup ball anymore. I could throw a backup ball to save my life. So I ended up moving like 6 boards over to the right of center, and I was throwing just like heat hooks into the pocket. Just like the worst part about coming back was just my mental game was so shot. Like you finally start getting a rhythm again, and like literally I get to like 3 strikes in a row and you're holding the ball, getting ready to go. And
Yeah.
yeah, it took a while to get comfortable throwing again.
We've talked about this a few times, but bowling is a completely different sort of mental game than it is from most of the other ones, right? I mean, you play basketball, you play hockey, you play soccer, there's strategy and stuff, but a lot of it is reactionary, an impulse, and you don't really have that in bowling. Like, if you start thinking of bowling, it's completely different.
Like the only comparisons between the two sports that I played was like literally like shooting a free throw, because you're trying to, like, it's the same kind of thing. You have a pre-shot routine, right? You're trying to catch your breath to make sure that you're calm when you're shooting the ball, because you don't want to be like, it's the same. That's the only thing I can compare the two. But like every sport has a couple of things that you can put it, put together. But like, it was took a while to get the mental side of the game back in.
So when you came back into it, you mentioned that it's more just for like a fun atmosphere, something for you and your wife to kind of get together and do. How long did it take till like the competitive kick in
like 3 months. Natalie did bowl YBC, so bowling was still pretty new to her, and Natalie's kind of a perfectionist when it comes to playing sports and music and all that kind of stuff. So Natalie talked to Rob Forbes at Park, and he's like, come down practice after our YBC on Saturdays. And so we'd come every Saturday, and we'd go practice, and like we'd throw like 8 games at a time, because she's like, I'm missing this. I need to figure out how to do this. So I started kind of getting the coaching vibe back there too. But I remember doing this in practice. This is what I need to do. I need to get, I need to make sure, like, when you're trying to get your pacing and all that kind of stuff back, I really started focusing on all the little things in my shot that I remembered from before. Even though my shot was different, I had to make something work. So yeah, we were coming out a lot, and like Lauren Sproul was a coach there at the time, and you guys probably know Jesse Leet from some of the tournaments. Yeah. So like Jesse's dad Jim was there, and these guys don't know me from Lauren kind of remembered me from when I was in YBC, but nobody there knew me from a hole, and it was great. So like they had their All-Star League on Saturdays at Mosienko that they both played in, and Sunday night they had kind of like a competitive league. So they got me out to kind of spare. So that's how I really kind of got the competitive stuff back in it, because I'm going to different places. And it was great going to some of these all-star leagues. Like I remember going to Mosienko the first time to play, and Jim brought me in to spare for, I can't even remember who it was, but like, and the whole center. So like Mosienko downstairs, you guys have been there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So like the whole thing's full, teams of 4. The only 3 people in that league that knew who I was it was more like 5 guys. So Willie Orn, Eddie Johns, like just some of the old bowlers from like the 90s and stuff. So those are the only guys that knew me. Nobody knew who I was. And the first day I come in, I was bowling. Who was I bowling? I just remember I came in and I bowled lights out. I think my first week there for 4 games, I threw it was like a 10-20. And like at that time I was only back to averaging like under 230, like 228. I just came and I was just throwing lights out. Came to Sunday and bowling, like bowled against Brett's team because I was sparing on Lauren's team, and Brett had Brandon Mansell on his team, so I was playing Brandon Mansell probably like 2 years after he was done YBC, like when he was in university. And I came in there, and first couple of games I threw a couple high, like a decent 3 and like a high 2, and he hears like, who the fuck is this guy? It was good.
I think Brett said it. Who's this guy throwing straight heaters in the basketball jerseys?
Yeah.
I could see him saying that too, 100%.
Yeah.
The Chris Paul jersey, probably. I used to rock that jersey all the time when I was playing. Yeah.
I would say the same thing. Who the fuck is this guy throwing heaters in a basketball jersey?
Well, that's how me and Brett became friends, because I started sparing in that Sunday league a lot more, and Brett and Robbie bowled out of Park, so started seeing them a lot, and ended up joining the Saturday league and the Sunday league. Yeah, Chris Paul jersey, or the North Carolina, one or the other. Yeah.
Nice.
That's awesome.
That's good. So then, when did you start, looking to play the Opens? Do you do the Open? Is that?
I've never done the Open.
Okay.
Yeah, the only time I was about to play in it was 2015, and it was like literally a week after Natalie's dad passed away. So I wasn't mentally prepared to be there.
Right.
So yeah, I never got to bowl the Open, but so I came back in like 2012, and Brett convinced me to join teaching division master. So I came in 2013 to bowl teaching, ended up making the teaching team the first time. So that was That Calgary? Calgary's 2013?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That was a good year.
Good.
That was a fun
Yeah.
year.
Got to ride the bus with your dad.
Sweating our balls off.
It was only Paradise was hot. Everywhere else was fine. That one in the mall was great.
No, that bus ride though. That bus ride was like 40 degrees and like no AC, and yeah, we were just dying on the way there.
Going to Alberta night was good because we got the big comfortable tour bus. It was great.
You got that? We didn't. I did
Oh,
not.
we got that.
We did not. Yeah. No, yeah, the Alberta night was great. The little rodeo we had there, we talked about this a couple weeks ago too. The rodeo was awesome.
Yeah, we drank them out of booze. It was great.
Yeah, exactly. I think we drank rye to get in the cowboy spirit.
Yeah. Get the discount on the bill because you cleaned them out.
Yeah.
Where was the Alberta night?
It was a rodeo.
Forget the name of the ranch, but yeah, it was like they had bull riding and stuff, I guess, before the Stampede, because the Stampede was the week after, right?
Yeah.
Sure would be.
That was a crazy year because that was a year that that flood happened and everything. Like we didn't, we were supposed to be at the hotel, and they put us in 3 separate hotels, like by the airport for the first night.
Yeah, and then we all ended up moving into the Hyatt the second night, and yeah, it was crazy. We weren't sure if there was gonna be a nationals for a while. Like it was really interesting. Yeah, it was a fun year though. It was good.
Oh yeah, it was a good year for my first year.
Yeah. Agreed.
And then you decide to start playing Tournament Masters. I know there's a pretty big accolade here in 2016, Tournament Men's Team Gold. So that's anytime you can be on the tournament team is solid, but then to win a national championship obviously is a pretty big crowning moment. Tell us about that one.
Yeah, so 2014, I was just outside in both divisions. So like the Winnipeg year, I guess I was the designated alternate for both of the teams. So, but my wife was bowling. That was her first year. And so I was at all the centers, and like I'll never forget, like it was right after the teaching men won their gold medal. And like I was super pumped for those guys because I was practicing with those guys like every day they had a practice, and I was bowling lights out at the time. I think I was pushing 260 something for average in the practices. I felt really, really good just in case. And it was the last tournament that it was my own fault. Like I pulled my gas for my last game, so I cost myself that one. But I remember I was leaving to go get something out of the car for the girls' team that was downstairs, and Jimmy Llewellyn came in, and he said something to me because I guess some of the extra drama that was going on with the tournament men's team that year.
Oh yeah.
So he said something to me to kind of like, you know, say like keep your head up, and I lost my shit in the car, and I actually cried a little bit because I was like it's like I needed that chance, right? So I remember the day after we went to see Shannis at Academy at the time, and I went to throw games upstairs, and I think I only bowled like 5 warm-up frames and switched it over, and I bowled it was like a 430 something. Like I was just like focused. That's when I started focusing. So 2015, made the team. It was me, Randy, Jeff Bourne, George Stecky, and Trevor Cook. And, you know, we played pretty good. We had the second highest pinfall in the tournament, and we finished 5th. Like it was just one of those things. It's you have you catch the team at the wrong time. Like we bowled a 14. What game was that? It was like a high 13 or like a mid 14 or something, and Newfoundland swept us. It was within like 30 pins. The game total was within 30 pins. We got swept. Like it was ridiculous.
It's close matches.
Yeah.
Yeah. Getting Eric doing the big screams and stuff coming off the lane for Alberta. That was always good.
Shows.
Oh
Yeah, man. You betcha.
Yeah.
And then so
You know,
2016.
when he's bowling good, you know that Eric's around. Like, yeah. Eric's here. Yeah, Eric's here.
Yeah.
He stole that from you,
2016
didn't he?
2016 was great. So what, you betcha from
Yeah, I think Eric stole that from DB.
Yeah, DB definitely started the You Betchas. That's for sure.
Well, I think Gino might have had a bit of start of a You Betcha. I might have emphasized it a little bit more. But
Yeah.
Gino's more the boom baby, I guess. But
Yeah. No, like 2016 was just good because me, Randy, and Jeff were all back, and then we ended up with Cordell. So Cordell's an awesome guy. Like he goes with us when he's home, but like I still think he's in Ontario. But Glenn Howarth made the team, but he couldn't come because his daughter was graduating. So Brandon ended up taking the spare spot, so coming in on the team. So we knew we had good chemistry going in because like we had guys that all bowl together to begin with, and it was just one of those wicked tournaments where you came off the lane and you knew somebody was going to catch you regardless if it was good or bad. Like they were there to bring you up or like hype you up, like whatever they needed. Like everybody was there. It was just an awesome experience.
Yeah, that's great. That's the way a team is supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
And that's really make and break in those tournaments. If you have that camaraderie and that that cohesive unit sort of thing, it's just so much easier to bowl better, and it's so much easier to win, honestly.
Oh, my focus on the first day was as long as the first two games I bowled decent, like I'm good. I'll be fine. Because like 2015, my first couple of games were absolute ass. Like I think my first game was like I think I had like 7 head pins or something like that. And I'm pretty sure it was against Newfoundland. I bowled like $162 or something like that. And I had another crappy game the first day. It was against it was just a crap fest all around. I think I was bowling Bobby Torville, and we both bowled like crap. But yeah, so as long as I didn't bowl bad the first day, I was going to be all right. So
who was on that team in 2016?
2016 was me, Jeff Bourne, Randy Morissette, Brandon Mansell, and Cordell Galbeca.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
That's a super solid team.
Was that the year you shot your 4.48?
Yeah, unfortunately.
How much?
I get reminders. I think it was like $30,000 at the time.
Oh boy!
Yeah.
Do you get reminders?
Yeah. You get reminders every year. Every year on Canada Day, that's like literally your memories feed.
Can you make that larger?
I'm not sure. We'll find. Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Hey, look at that big patch on the back of my head, my alopecia. Nice.
I hear you can rub it for good luck.
So where was this in the tournament? This was what game?
That was at Cloverdale.
Oh man, I think that's the first time I've watched this. That was a great shot too.
Yeah.
And you moved that 2-pin here. Let's watch it again.
The ball went in front.
Yeah, it did wobble in there.
It did. It absolutely moved it.
Yeah, it was just the bowling gods because like if you go if they have the 11th on there, the 11th one I got away with like kind of like a light feather cross. Like I went left side. I went left side and just took it off. So
I feel like there could be one of those like internet songs about oh no, right? Like oh no. Like, whoever can put that song together for that video, that you might get a shout out. So
don't get Brett any ideas. That might be up.
Yeah. Hendo, can you make that happen, please? Yeah.
Yeah.
But hey, you know what? You threw an absolutely great shot when you needed to. It just
You still won some money, right? You got the high single pot, didn't you?
Yeah, I still got. I think I got 1,300. Yeah. The teaching money, they got way more than we got for the scratch. I think teaching the pins over or whatever. I think pins over got like $1,700 or something like that. Crazy.
Tyson Nelson, perfect. Has that pot been won since at Masters, or is it still up for grabs?
Nope. Closest was.
I love Brett.
Who was the highest? Was it McDougal? I think he was the last one to get it, but it wasn't over 440. I think it was like 418 or something was the last
So
one.
you're a few years more, so you're up to 40 grandish now. That's a big
Yeah.
pot sitting there.
Gonna be climbing. Well, I think it was Eric Villeneuve. It was Winnipeg that he got his 448, or was that Calgary?
Masters Nationals is in Bonnie Doon next year, so
Ooh,
well,
yeah.
So
We
it's
have to
see
try
what
out.
happens.
What
If there's
what's
a
the
reason
play?
to join Masters, there it is right there.
What's the play?
Game 2, Game 3.
Do you take 50% and then the rest takes 50% the team, or how do you split it? Does everybody get a split, or how do you?
Well, we ended up saying before we threw a ball, like, because everybody's in, we're like, hey, if anybody gets it, every player gets $1,000. Like everybody will get $1,000. So yeah, I still ended up. So when we got home, I ended up getting a hold of Mark, and I got some custom shirts made for the guys. So it was basically the Manitoba version of the Alberta shirt. So there's only 5 of those shirts. The 2016 men's team have them. Yeah.
Nice.
That's awesome.
What do you guys do, Dex and Tim and Adam? How do you agree to that? What's the
We
what's the
usually
play?
do like 50%. I think 50% we split the rest. I think isn't there
Yeah.
something like that?
Yeah, I think that's what we normally do at the Open and stuff too. Just winner gets 50%, and then you split the other 50% between the other 5.
Yeah, it's usually the proposal. I've seen the $1,000 each, and then winner take the rest type thing. I've also seen people split complete. Like, I think Will Sutherland split everything completely when he threw his.
Well,
Yeah,
Oh, right.
I don't know. Yeah, the weirdest one I heard was in Newfoundland. Jay Young, when he won in 2009.
Or maybe it was Jay.
Yeah, he split. He said the whole contingent said they were going to do it together, and then the ladies team was like, no, we don't want nothing to do with it. And so the mixed team and the men's team got a portion of that pot, and the Newfoundland ladies got nothing out of it. And it was worth a lot of money. Yeah.
yeah. I don't mind the $1,000 thing, right? Everybody gets $1,000,
Yeah.
and the rest of you get, and especially once the pot starts climbing to be pretty high. Sure, it's
Well,
you
yeah,
spend
like
around a
that's the
couple
thing
grand.
here. Like I'm assuming guys here wouldn't have a problem if they upped it. Like if everybody got $2,000 instead or something like that.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
Yeah.
you know, you're,
I
you're
definitely-
going there
I
as a
definitely
team,
don't
and the guys are there to help you out when you're bowling that game too. Like if they weren't there to like hype you up and you know catch you coming off the lane all hot.
Yeah.
Well, and they're going to be more willing to do that, knowing that they're going to win something too. You know,
Yeah, but you don't.
like
I
there's
don't,
definitely a part of me that's like, man, I want that
Yeah.
40 grand.
I was gonna
I don't,
say
I don't
like
need
if
to
I
make
was-
$5,000 off a guy, right? I can
Yeah.
I can live with $1,000 or $2,000 off a guy,
Oh,
but I
totally.
definitely don't need to make $5,000 off a guy throwing us, and he splits out $20,000. Hey man,
Well,
you
no,
threw
no.
so.
Remember,
I was gonna say if I got it, Jeff deserved it because I scared the crap out of him when I came off on the 9th one. I was pretty hyped. I probably almost knocked him over.
Yeah. Remember we went to Fort St. John and we did a split for the winner.
Yeah.
Remember we all
Yeah.
did that. Yeah,
$1,000 each, and that was cool, right? For
that
sure.
was good. It was $10,000 first place, and we had a vehicle full of guys. At 5 for first and 1,000 for the other 5.
Yeah.
And it worked out really well.
For the winner
Think-
of the tournament, different from
Yeah.
a perfect game, but winner of the tournament. This is how it
Yeah.
works. Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
guaranteed 10G. So sure.
I think the one year we talked about just splitting a Vegas trip. So basically, everybody's going to get the same. We're going to blow everything in Vegas, whatever it was.
Man.
It was like $30,000 or something like that for 6 people, right? So I think it was the Open. So that would have been fun too.
That would have been amazing.
There'd be a few
Yeah,
regrets there, I'm sure. Hey. Yeah.
Nope, I wouldn't remember them.
Yeah.
Be like the Winnipeg airport on a plane delay.
Oh yeah, I remember
man.
that. Yeah,
That was
2009.
that was actually awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
that
whatever
piano
hap-
player.
What happened? Yeah, what happened to Wade Powers? That's I'm still.
Oh,
wondering
man.
what-
Hey.
yeah.
He didn't make it on the flight, did he?
No, he never made it on
He's
the
still
flight.
blacklisted by WestJet.
That was great. I love Wade, but like I couldn't stop laughing at that. I think Natalie
man.
and that came in and saved the day. Like he could have flew out, but I think he just chose not to.
He was probably too hungover.
For
Like, she
anybody
can't fix a plane.
for
Well, he
anybody
was
that
getting-
didn't.
He was
anybody
going. He
didn't
was
know-
going home after
Yeah.
after nationals anyway because he was going to I think he was going to PEI, so
Yeah.
he was already going to be halfway.
Yeah.
For anybody who didn't know, we were connecting in Winnipeg for Masters Nationals on the way to Quebec in 2019, and we got stuck in Winnipeg. Our flight had a their connecting plane had a mechanical error, and it kept on getting delayed and getting delayed and getting delayed and getting delayed, and
It
we
was
kept
like
on
every half hour it
and
was
we
like
kept
delayed.
and so the
Every
Winnipeg-
time we saw that delay, we were like,
So the Manitoba guys
Another
and
beer.
girls and us were getting drunker and drunker and drunker and drunker, and then and Jeff Bourne ended up singing on the piano, and it we got drunker and drunker, and then finally after about 6 hours in the airport, it's like you guys had to get your own hotel room. So they put us in a hotel room, and we got back and we had to get a 6 a.m. flight, but Wade went up to the front desk and was like, "Screw you," with the 2 middle fingers with the birds. And he was asked,
Literally making the announcement, me standing on top of a chair.
and then so Wade never came back. So yeah,
I think the thing that set Wade off was we were sitting, like, we were away from there. I came back to sit with Natalie and a couple of the guys, and Wade and I were by the window, and we literally saw the guy that was working on the plane grab his toolbox, and he literally threw it in the van and shut the door and sped off. And then the girl comes on the thing. It looks like we're going to be about another half hour before you guys can board the plane. And it's
Zero
no,
chance.
man, this guy ain't fixing the thing. It's done. We're not going anywhere.
Caught
Like,
Call it.
oh god, yeah, that was good. That was priceless.
it was yeah. You know what? As much as it sucks getting delayed for that long, it was super entertaining. We had a great time.
Yeah.
Like, it was.
Yeah, you just watch
Can
it.
you just imagine, like,
Here we go.
if it was like, was he singing Tiny Dancer?
yeah, he was.
Yeah. But it got to the point where we were looking forward to the announcement. Oh,
Yep.
round. Okay, whose turn is it?
Whose
turn?
yep.
Whose turn?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
awesome.
they made a lot of money off us that night for sure.
Oh, they did for sure. Yeah.
Half
Airport
hour, half
trips are
hour,
not
half
cheap.
hour, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
Okay, back on the rails, boys.
Sorry. After you, DB.
Yeah, no, just saying that. So obviously, big win. Congrats on the 2016 tournament men's gold. But then you also had a cool thing where you coached in 2018 the tournament men's as well, and you won the national championship there. That's a pretty quick transition from going from player to coach. How did that go?
Well, I guess it was next best thing, right? Because you still want to go every year, and it wasn't that I played terrible those 2 years either. Like, so 2018, the year that they went, the only person that was ahead of me was Trevor, and Trevor was like 13 pins ahead, so I was pretty close to making that team too. It's just I was having back issues those last couple, like those 2 years that I didn't make it, like back and knee. But coaching, I've always been pretty into coaching. That was one of the things, like when I was finishing off YBC, that Norm ended up paying for me and Wes to go take all our coaching certification at Sport Manitoba. So we ended up getting our coaching stuff all dealt with in like 2001 maybe. So it was always something I wanted to come back and do. So, when I started bowling at Dakota, like Chad and Lauren, who's the program director there, like Chad Van Dale, they wanted me to come and coach, me and my wife to come and coach. So that was the next thing we ended up doing. So I always say to people, and like, I'm pretty, like, everybody's like, oh, you're just joking. It's like, no, but I've always thought that I see things a lot better than when I'm playing. Like I think I'm a better coach than I am a bowler, because just a way that I can relate to what I'm seeing and explaining it to people. But that 2018 was pretty special though, because I ended up taking the Dakota doubles, like the Manitoba senior boys team, and they ended up winning gold at Nebs.
Nice. Who was that?
That was Sam Gilardi and Tyler Van Dale. So
Nice.
that wasn't at Nebs. That was in Regina, actually. So like that was a really good experience with those two guys. Like a lot of fight and a lot of close games, but they trusted me enough to listen, and that's always the biggest thing, right? Is
Totally.
you're not trying to bullshit a bullshitter. You're actually giving the advice that they need to hear. Stuff that you're seeing that they might not feel, or that kind of thing. So. And then right after that, getting selected to to coach the tournament men's team was great too.
Who
So
was
it's
on
just
that
trying.
team?
That one was so the team was Dwayne, Cordell, Shane Barry, Kyle Costello, and Derek Warren. And then Cordell couldn't make it, so Trevor Cook ended up taking his spot as the alternate. So I remember hearing from some people that they were looking at that team and they weren't really expecting much out of it. But you have a lot of talent on that team. Like, you know, you're looking at Derek. Derek just throws bombs. Shane throws bombs. Like, these guys are really, especially when they find their line, they're hard to beat. Like, think of the match that you had in Regina last time we had Dix with you and Derek. Like, that was the most boring match I watched. Like, literally, you're like, fuck, these guys are just gonna keep throwing strikes. It was like nine in a row to 10 in a row or something like that. It was
great because I just kept throwing strikes, and when I was throwing strikes, I just kept looking back at you because it was so fun to watch Derek just shaking his head, pissed off. It's like, that was my motivation.
Yeah, like Derek's one of those kids that like I've seen grow into becoming the bowler that he is, and like I've never seen a person to be so pissed off at a strike. It's great. Like it's always something negative. It's like, oh, I hated that ball. That was terrible. Oh God, or the hat, just
disappointment.
But just those guys were. You know, the first day we had a couple rough spots to start, like, but you know, coaching adults is a lot different than coaching youth, right? So you know, you got to get them to trust you the same way. You got to make sure that you know you're trying to get through a lot of different things. Like, you know, the egos become a thing too, right? Because they're on the team, you're not, right? They're like, is this guy like? But no, they came through when they did. Like Shane Barry, that 417 that he threw against Saskatchewan was easily like the biggest game that I've seen somebody kind of strap in and, you know, we're not losing this game. Like, we're getting a draw minimum. And like that was literally the game that kind of sealed it for us. Like he was on fire that game. It was crazy. And like Saskatchewan was just throwing bombs that game too. Like I think Brian started with a 6-bagger. Kevin was bowling lights out. Like Taylor was throwing bombs. Like it was a good team. And Shane, Trevor, and Derek just really went hand that game. Even Dwayne wasn't throwing bombs, but Dwayne was picking wood, and that made a difference.
Yeah, you know? Dwayne was punching lots that weekend. I remember, seeing him punch quite a bit, but he's super solid on his pins, and you know they became really important. I think the only reason why anybody would think that, you know, they weren't expecting much of your team.
Well, a lot of people didn't know some of the guys on there, right. And that goes back to like you know, people that age group knew those guys because you're looking at, you know, Trevor and Jane. They won gold medal in YBC together. Like they were, you know, and everybody knows how good of a bowler Trevor is. Like totally. Trevor's like, you know, when you see Regina coming up, you know, one person's making a cut. It's usually Trevor, right?
Totally. Yep.
He can grind it out.
But that's the reason why you never take a team lightly, right? Because just because you don't know somebody doesn't mean that they're not amazing. It's just that sometimes they just don't get out to all the things, right? And Shane was definitely one of those guys. I didn't like. I by no means took Shane lightly, but like I didn't know who Shane was, right? Yeah. And now all of a sudden, like Shane's coming out to the cash tournament and stuff like that, and he's a great shooter. He really is.
Oh yeah, he's just don't like know. Shane's become pretty close with me and Natalie. Like him, he's drafted Natalie and Jana's sister Andrea the last couple of years for the All-Star, our Super League. They all get along great, but like he's a really good bowler. Like me, Shane and I have had like some really, really good matches in the past. It's one guy that I always like coming against the bowl. Brings out the best in whoever he's going against, right? Totally. You don't want to be the one getting chumped.
Well, you're right, Dex. Like you said, you know, no team across the country should be taken lightly. Whether they may not be looking strong on paper, It's just because you maybe haven't seen them or they haven't gotten out to tournaments, but they're all
Yeah,
legitimate.
and
They're all
that's the
legitimate
thing,
bowlers.
right?
They can
It's
play.
it's the same when you get to that. It's all the same level, right? Everybody had to prove themselves to get there, and that's
But
the
good-
stage. That's where you
But
go.
good
Yeah.
work to you, and obviously, on you, Kyle, as far as being the coach to bring those guys together, to have them trust you and have them believe in themselves that you guys can do this. We just have to do it together, right?
Yeah.
You're not a lone soldier on an island. You're a team here, and I'll bring you all together, and let's all go together for this ride. So good on you.
And that and the thing even after getting that gold medal was just the fact that, like, Jeff, for especially for my age, like, Jeff was kind of him and Willie and Rob. Those were like the three guys when we were growing up that we all looked up to for their bowling, because they were all just like our idols, right? So I always looked up to Jeff, and for Jeff to ask me to be up there for the singles, like that meant a lot too. To be able to be coached. You're not really coaching. You're stepping in to say the right word when he needs to hear it, right?
Yeah.
Like going into that last frame, I remember it was right. Wasn't after Tyler punched. Like, Tyler still had a double. Bradley, sorry.
Yeah.
But like, I just remember all that I said to Jeff and like kind of hype him up. It's like, yeah, you know who you are, right? Yeah. It's like, you're Jeff fucking Bourne. Go throw some bombs. End up getting that turkey or whatever it was to put himself ahead. As Brett coined it, the Super Mario jump off, going around to the bombs and stuff. That lane there. Yeah. Getting a big bear hug from me when he got back. That was good.
Yeah.
I think that's the absolute perfect thing to say to Jeff. Like, I could not think of a better thing to say to Jeff. Like, 100%.
You know who you are. Go throw some strikes. Jeff fucking Bourne, right?
That's right.
Yeah. And then the next year, you were the singles in Manitoba, so that's pretty cool too. Nice little transition there into representing as a single. That's nice.
Yeah, that was. It's the level you always want to be at, right? You want to be that bowler. You want to have the confidence to go up and not really worry about trying to grind out a game, just going out there and doing you, right? And like, that's what the season was. Like, that season was just, I don't know, it was kind of ridiculous to me, because it was funny, because I got back after coaching that team and I didn't practice. I practiced maybe 2 or 3 times. I just went and helped Natalie out with what she needed help with. And probably from November until the end of the season, I don't think I threw a set under 1050. Like, I was just on fire. And just to qualify first that year was kind of hilarious, because I was asking a lot of like the stats guys for Masters. I'm like, has anybody ever won a single without winning a single tournament? No, because I didn't win a single tournament. I finished second, third, fourth, like in every tournament, but it was all high numbers, right? So just being consistent sometimes, that's what it is, right? But yeah, no, it was great to finally get to bowl against Tim. Like, Tim and I got to bowl like in Regina, like for qualifying shifts and stuff like that, but we never actually had to bowl against each other, so that was fun. We had Team Awesome. Yeah, we had Team Awesome going for a while with me and Jana and you and Jen.
Yeah.
It was kind of fun.
They paired us up on 4 on a lane for our games instead of 2 on a lane. So it was a long day, so we got to know our singles a lot better. So it was great to bowl with you guys. It was awesome that way. Yeah.
Yeah. What did you experience? Experience there wasn't bad. It was after the first day when I lost like all my games in 10 basically, except the 3 or 2 wins that I had. Tyson sweat me. That never felt good.
Yeah,
he makes sure he brings it up every time I see him.
Yeah. He makes sure he tells you that.
I tell you what, though, he was super excited that you were coming on podcast tonight. He said he was making it a date night with him and his girlfriend because he was excited to watch it, and they're sitting down and watching you on podcast.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Tyson's awesome.
He is, yeah.
What did you find the biggest differences playing as a single versus playing as a team at that level?
I'm always more of a I like the team atmosphere better. Like I like being plugged right in the middle of the lineup. Like I like being kind of that middle guy. I always call it the glue guy, right? Because like that's always my thing. If the guys in front are struggling, I got to be the guy to fire up the other guys. So like that was always like my favorite part about bowling, the team thing. The singles thing was just I don't know if I just let the pressure get to me the first day or not. Like I didn't feel like I was bowling bad. I was just not getting enough rotation on my ball to place. Like I was punching a lot. Yeah. But I don't know. Singles is it's fun. Like I like going head to head against people. I think that's awesome. It's just I like having more of a backing behind you when you're playing.
It's a whole lot. It was a whole lot different in Quebec than other years, to be honest with you, Kyle. Putting us 4 on a lane instead of 2 on a lane across, it was a huge difference.
That second day when it was like 1,000,000 degrees in that building, and
and you know what?
Nobody could slide.
Each day the approaches were different, and everything else was like that. The one biggest thing I found was you are sort of a team with your counterparts. So like with Jana, you guys have the feet together and everything else like that. So
and that's the one plus to that thing too, right? Like, cause Jana and I get along great, and like you know, we've had some great matches against each other too. But like you couldn't ask for somebody to be more supportive as a teammate than that, right?
Yeah.
So like, I felt comfortable, but kind of uncomfortable at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was super tight. I mean, at the end of the day, everybody was within like 2 wins at the end of the day. So
yeah, like I think I finished tied with Harms after Harms made his run for 5th, and we were like just behind Brad. Brad had 4th, or maybe Harms and Brad switched. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, that's my own fault on the first day. I don't think I've lost that many 10th frames ever. And even the last day, the game against Taylor, like his dad was watching, and it was a close game, and I did the same thing. Like Taylor and I had really good matches all week. Like the first one, I punched, and he ended up with a spare, so he won the first one. The second day we tied, and then the third day, like I punched, and I thought that I was going to lose again, and he ended up punching. You don't want anybody to punch and lose that way, but that's what happened. But I was so mad, and I remember I turned around and Doug was right in front of me, and I didn't know he was right behind me, and I had my towel in my hand, and I hulked it. I ripped it right in half. And you just see Doug step back, and he's like,
that's awesome.
Well, neat experience to be playing. You know, you've done the trifecta there, obviously, right? Playing on the team, playing as a coaching, and then playing as a single. So,
yeah.
The next thing you need to do is you need to play on the seniors team here soon. Then you've got everything.
Teachers, you did.
I got a little bit to go. We're good. We're
good. So I guess what else? Like, what is left, right? Obviously seniors is a joke, but do you want to play more teams, more singles, more tour events?
I want to make cut at the tour instead of being like the last guy out in bowling consolation. That seems to be it right now. Shane got the last spot or whatever in Regina the last time. I finished next to him, and then the last one I did before that was TPC. Mm-hmm. And I ended up coming off bowling a 396 or something in the last game. I remember Gino watching, and I was all over the middle, and I'm rolling aces out and chops, and like they're like heavy pocket chops. They're not making any sense. And Gino's like, you just see him look, and he just shakes his head. He's like, I don't even know what to say, and he just walks away. So I think I lost that one by like 13 pins. But it was good to come in the next day and watch Adam, and because Adam took it that year. Watch Mitch break his hand.
You know what? I do have I've got a perfect like shout out to Mitch. So when he's not posting what he's eating every night, he's posting what he's putting up on his walls. So I got really inspired, and I actually put that championship jersey on my wall, and hoping that he's watching right now and bring back some nice memories for him.
I just remember going to talk to Mitch when he was bowling. He was bowling Shane on the far end, and he just comes around. He's like, "Man, it hurts." But he's like, "You know what? I can't even rotate my hand anymore, and I'm throwing bombs. This is great." It was hilarious.
Yeah,
He's gonna ask if he sold that Ben Simmons jersey yet. I don't think.
Definitely not. No. The best part of that was he was part of the youth seminar earlier in that week, and he stood up there and like one of the questions I think was like, what's the thing you want to tell everybody, or what's the best lesson you've had, and Mitch was like, it's not worth getting mad anymore. It's just not, like, just keep your temper in check and just, don't hit things or whatever. And then, destroys his wrist the same weekend. But, yeah, hilarious. It's just proof that if you have, 17 ryes in a day that you don't feel anything, injuries don't matter.
Hey,
still get
it's like
paid.
a Regina mini pitcher. It just gives you power.
That's right. That's right.
But speaking of injuries, Kyle, you had mentioned earlier about you had some back issues. Throughout your career, obviously you experienced some other injuries. How is it to come back from, or do you have to make adjustments to your game, or how do you deal with injuries in bowling? I know it sounds funny, but we actually do have injuries, and outside of life, there's things that happen. But how do you translate into the game of bowling?
Well, that was the whole thing. Like when I first came back to bowl that fun league, that what made everything really different was that was probably close to a year after I tore my ACL. So basically, that was kind of the relearning how to do everything kind of again. So basically, couldn't put a lot of pressure on push off, and I know the guys here that see me bowl, I'm pretty aggressive now because I got that strength and everything back, and I'm not worried about re-hurting the injury. And so you have to make adjustments to kind of feel your way around it. The 2 years that I bowled tournament division where I kind of started struggling, I was more worried about re-aggravating everything, so I was trying to be too cautious about it. So I wasn't throwing with the same lift and the same speed, so I wasn't getting the same result. I do lots of punching. And then when I did start feeling comfortable, I started overdoing it, and then you end up hurting your arm, right? I was bowling a Friday at St. James, and I was doing pretty good up to that point in the season. It was December, and I dropped pretty far into my shot, and the way that I brought the ball through, I ended up subluxing my shoulder, so it felt like it popped out. So I was having difficulty, and then of course me being an idiot, I'm I'm just gonna keep bowling, and I bowled the rest of the night, and then I was done for I don't know, at least a month or two. It just wasn't the same. The last couple of years has been really good. I've been taking better care of my body. I lost a bunch of weight in 2019, or after we got back from nationals. There's a couple pictures in there that I just looked terrible. My eyes were all yellow underneath, and I was the biggest I was when I went to nationals as a single. When I got back, I decided it was time for a change. So the last time I saw you guys in person was probably I lost. I was 85 pounds. So I was around 235, 240. So I put back on 15, and I feel comfortable right now. So my body feels good now. So I think I should be all right. We'll see when I get to the lanes on the weekend. But yeah, bowling with injuries is tough.
Totally.
Yeah. Have you guys had to deal with anything significant, Tim and Dex and Adam, at all from an injury standpoint?
I had back in 2009, I think Dex, right? Just before 2009, I actually have degenerative discs. in my back, so I had to be careful. But I mean, I'm still fat, but I do have to do my exercises and whatnot. So
Do you do
I think
them?
no. But there is a
Not
point.
ask.
I think down over time I will have to get them fused down over time. They do say, so it's just a matter of time.
If you
and
wonder
one-
why Tim's getting shorter,
yeah, I'm getting
Well,
short.
that was
but
the
yeah,
one
so-
thing that always stuck out to me was with my knee injury. Like and it was like the way that my knee injury happened didn't make any sense to me. It was before a game even started. I was just shooting set shots like at the 3-point line before the game, and like so I'm barely even jumping, and I came down and like you feel like a spring basically shoot up, and yeah, just after that I couldn't do anything. Like Natalie and I would go grocery shopping, and this was like in the winter. It happened in like the end of November and December. We'd be going to a grocery store and like we'd be walking together, and then I just fall over. She'd keep walking, turn around. Like, what the hell happened? I don't know.
yeah.
There's no ice on the ground.
Yeah.
You step the wrong way and just So yeah, injuries just suck.
How about you, Dex? Anything significant?
I done a little bit with scoliosis, but for the biggest thing for me has been like my ankle. I've destroyed my ankle multiple times. 2018 in Thunder Bay there, just before we had the Red Deer cash tournament, the Heritage Classic, or the traditional, sorry. I was playing ball and I absolutely destroyed my ankle. I heard it pop. I couldn't walk for 3 days after. I was in crutches. I went to the bowling tournament in Red Deer and I bowled in it, and I bowled half my frames off the left foot, half my frames off the right foot, and then honestly I couldn't use it for forever. I had wore a brace forever, and then Masters Nationals came around and I hadn't thrown like a single ball until like a couple of days before Masters Nationals to try to let it heal, and it hurt. It hurt a lot in that practice. I remember, and I had to move way up, and I had to be really super slow. And I went to Nationals, and I was hoping that it wouldn't hurt all the way through, or that I would make it all the way through. And the first day, like, took a bunch of Advil, and I slid quite a bit and just practiced with it, and I went super slow, and I ended up having probably the best national tournament that I've ever had. We struggled a bit as a team, but on a personal basis, that was without question the best I've bowled at nationals. So it was a shitty injury, but it taught me how to go super slow and move up, and it worked. So you just kind of find a way to adapt. Yeah.
How about you, Adam?
I've had surgery on both of my feet, like 5 years apart. Both provincials were in Calgary. So I hadn't actually played a provincials in Calgary until, when was it, Tim? 14, 15?
2016.
16? So it would have been like 2010 and 2005 or something like that I had both my foot surgeries. Identical issue. Have no idea exactly what it was, but nor what caused it. But yeah, that basically forced me out like 6 months both years, shut me down both years. Other than that, I had a ring finger issue on my right hand, which caused a lot of issues for about 4 or 5 months before we finally got that kind of resolved as well. But thankfully, nothing major. The back gets tired, but it's never been like seriously hurt. Knees are bad, but never seriously hurt. Ankles, all that stuff. So we're pretty fortunate that way.
Yeah, nice. I've had the gamut of injuries. Nothing too major. I mean, I broke my hand a week before Paige was born, so I didn't play the Open that year, and probably took some time. I've done my thumb. I've done my knuckles, of course, from punching things. My back is probably the biggest thing that's given me troubles over the years. It hasn't. Typically around an Open time when I'd qualify, I'd really do some good healing or a chiropractor or massage to really make sure that it's in good shape to go. But sometimes at league nights is when it gets gotten bad. But for the most part, knock on wood, been pretty lucky too. Aside from a few nicks and bruises here, but like Marla says, yeah, injuries suck big time, and they take a lot out of you. And the rehab from injuries is is long sometimes and strenuous. I know there's plenty of people out there that are either watching or listening. You've dealt with injuries over time, and it's affected the game. And how do you come back with it, or with weight loss, or with weight gain, right? So it's just sort of part of the game and everything that you got to deal with. That's tough, right? So
The hardest part is trusting it when you come back, and having the confidence when you come back, right? I think that's
that's when it starts running into the mental side of it, right?
Yeah.
Because you start second guessing like almost everything.
why am I doing this? Am I even good enough? I
Yeah.
shouldn't even be playing. I'm not healed yet, and all these things. Yeah, for sure.
Well, that's been the running joke with like the weight loss thing with me, like especially with like Derek and those guys, was like Fat Kyle was a way better bowler because he didn't have to worry about the pace and all of that. Skinny Kyle's too fast. He needs to slow the hell down.
I have heard about this forever.
Fat
Like,
Dexter.
100% understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely get it.
On the agenda here, and maybe we guys, Tim, you want to help out. I have something that says the curse of being consistent. Where are we going with that, Tim?
That's Kyle.
No, that's basically like how I kind of classify my bowling. Like, you don't really have too many low games. You don't have like too many blowout high games. It's just that kind of line, right? And, in cash tournaments, it comes to bite you in the ass. Like, I wish I could throw and that was always the thing in YBC that I was like super good at, was I could really string strikes together. Like, I used to always joke with Joan. Like, I told her when I was in YBC, don't put any of my scores, like my YBC 300 games up, unless I'm beating, like, I'm on the men's, like, 325 or 350 or whatever it was at. So my name wouldn't get put on the board unless it was higher than the men's scores. But I ended up getting up on it there almost every year. But, like, yeah, I don't know what it was, like, that year that I averaged 270. I never really threw huge games. Like, highest game, like 400's high, obviously, but like 1 or 2 400s in a season when you're averaging like 272.
I think
you
it's
don't
an
have
absolute,
any games.
it's
Like
absolutely
when you're
amazing.
averaging high, everybody knows the same thing. Like, I know, like, you guys probably have like a grind out game. You want to get at least back to 220. Like, you'd be fine with 200 if it's a really bad game where you're punching a lot. But like,
Hell,
when
sometimes that
your
wins you a
grind
national
game-
championship.
yeah.
Was it 203? I don't know.
Yeah, but I guess like the year that I got the single, like I was just really consistent. Like, I would have loved to win stars and win tournaments and stuff like that. But like, even like a Western Tour though, like that's why I call it the curse of consistency, because like if I had a couple of games in there where I could just throw 20 pins higher, it happened.
I think it's a real thing, though, is the consistency, never really being able to shoot a 350, 360, 390, and you're always just sort of floating in that 250 to 280 to 290. Yeah. Sure, you're
and that's along the time when you start thinking about it too much, right? You're like, am I doing something wrong? Am I like, So there's nothing wrong with being consistent. Don't get me wrong. It's just you'd like to have a couple of blow-ups in there where you can actually make up different.
It's a mindset for sure.
Yeah, does it get into your head a little where it's like, you start throwing a 4-bagger to start a game, and then like, you're like, oh man, I throw this next one, this could be like the one, this could be the big one, and then that's where you just press a little bit more and punch or anything like that. Or...
For the most part, like, my mental game's been pretty good. Like that year when I averaged 272, like, it was literally from November onward where I just felt like there was nobody that could beat me. That was kind of my mindset when I went in. So like, even if I got down early, like, I didn't care. I'm like, yeah, just a couple strikes. Like, I used to always make that joke. That's another joke that I'd make with Derek. Like when we were bowling in All-Stars on Saturday. Like, there was one week where Mark Van Dale came in spare for somebody. Mark hadn't thrown a ball in a while, but you grew up in a bowling alley. It's not like you're gonna forget how to bowl. And he was bowling lights out. Like, he finished with like an 11:30, and like I was trailing by like a lot. And I'm like, yeah, nothing bad, Derek. I only need like a 360 or something, and I'll get average, or I'll get over 11. I throw a 368. But it happens more than once. It's just one of those stupid things where you're just joking around, but like, I don't know, the back of your mind, you're like, this is what you have to do. Like,
It's a mindset. I honestly, like, it's when you're in the groove. It's, I don't know if Adam or Daryl or Dexter can attest, but if I'm shooting 3, 4, or 5, and you kind of get that tunnel vision or stuff, like, it's like, okay, just one more. You're not thinking, okay, I'm on 4, I'm on 5, or I'm on 6. It's just, okay, just one more. And then at the end of the game, I find that I have a way better game than thinking about the score. Right? You know where you are you know where you're in the game. You know what the score is, but in your head, you're just thinking one more because you're just in that tunnel vision. You're kind of in that, keeping that scenario. That's how I kind of think of things. And Casey hates me for this when I had Casey as a coach, but I had a mental block when you said, you know, and maybe I'm wrong, but, you know, you had different lines, right? You know, like you guys have a turkey plow, and you feel you can't get over that next hump. Whenever I've done it before, and it's crazy, I go double or a turkey, and I'm playing on the right side. I move to the left side for my 4, and I throw on my completely different mindset. Throw that one, and I go back for the other one for my 5. Sometimes it's a clear.
That's a big
head.
change.
So the only adjustment you ever make in bowling ever is if you throw a turkey.
That's
Or
crazy.
whatever. It could be 2 in a row. I don't know. It's whatever. If I keep on punching on a certain thing, I see a pattern. I make that
that's
adjustment, right?
It is a big mental hang up, though. We've all gone through that.
Yeah.
Oh, why can't I get the
Double
triple?
punch.
Why can't I get the 4th one? Yeah.
well, like,
What
okay,
you
here's a
do,
question
Adam.
for you guys.
Yeah.
Like, so when you guys are like, when you finally get a line that you feel comfortable with, when do you what are you guys focusing on when you're getting 4 in a row, 5 in a row? Are you focusing on the feel that you're trying, like, that you're getting off of the release, or are you trying to just focus on something like in the steps? Like, what are you guys focused on at that point?
Honestly,
Feel.
at that point, it's like, it's definitely feel, and for me, it's mostly like that explosion point at the end. Yeah, when you get that good release out of your hand, you know it doesn't matter where you hit. Like, once you find that line, and it's just, if it comes out of your hand that way, you don't even have to watch. You know it's a strike. It doesn't matter if it's thick, thin, buried. Doesn't matter. It's
Left,
going.
right, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
For me, the feeling comes right on standing on the approach, right? Just by even getting there in your pre-shot routine and just being relaxed or being in that moment, or just, you know, the things you're saying to yourself. It just 100%, you know, clarity that you're going to throw the best ball that you possibly can, right? And then it comes down to the explosion point and the release, and you just know, right? There's times that, you know, like, it doesn't matter what you do or anything, like, you know it's a strike. And I'm in a zone, and my body feels so good, and I'm standing here and just, I don't hear anything, and I just know automatically this is going to be a strike, right? And that's what we strive for every week, or every ball, right? It's just to get into that moment that you just know. Right? And I'm sure you've, Adam, been in that many times, right? You might take a little bit longer to get there standing on the approach, but you definitely must feel really good when you're standing there and not going until you're ready, that this is 100% sure of the way that I'm going to throw this ball is going to be a strike.
I become more methodical. Like, I'm already slow, but I'll admit I'm getting slower, but I become more methodical. Even from how I'm drinking, where I'm sitting, to where the same way I rub my shoe, to the same way I become more methodical as I go, right? Especially if I'm playing well. Just sucks for everybody else, but not my problem.
Did you not catch on that DB was trying to transition to Adam answering that question?
Whatever.
No, I totally get that. But
No, you don't.
Just swoop right in there.
I know exactly what you're saying, though, Tim. I call it hyper routine.
yeah,
Right, so basically, all of a sudden, that routine takes a little extra time, but it's consistent time frame. But everything has to be identical, whether it's the way you step on the approach, whether it's the exact same things that you tell yourself, the exact same key that you're focused on, say, the first step, the exact key that you finish, finishing the ball. It becomes like a hyper focus. And once that pure routine's in, and you're having success, well, why the hell wouldn't you continue it, right?
Yeah.
And honestly, most people call it a zone. That's exactly what it is. It's hyper-focused and hyper-routined on doing that same thing over and over and over.
Yeah.
It's almost like
it's almost like visualizing like that's my thing when I really start getting the feel down and I trust everything in the shot. Like that's my main focus is like you start visualizing, okay, you're gonna grab the ball, you make sure that you're doing it with the hand, you're toweling it off the same way that you're doing it, rocking yourself in your shot. But yeah, no, I totally feel the same way about
every
that.
sport has their people that do their superstitions, but we, as a little bit biased towards bowling, there's a lot of superstitious people that do the same thing over and over and over and over and over, right? But that's just the way that we're built, and we want to do the same thing that we did last time because we threw a great strike. So why would you not?
Yeah.
Why would you keep doing that? Don't go to the bathroom if you're on a four-bagger, right?
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
How many times
you can change your socks.
Yeah. How many times have you had to go pee while you're sitting on a triple? Like, don't you dare go, right?
It's
Don't
the
let your
worst,
teammate go either. Like, everything's just got to stay the same. So anyway,
you know what? I remember the first time I ever threw a 400. DB, you were actually standing behind me, and you refused to move. You were standing at the pool tables. I was 15 years old, and you were leaning against the pool tables, and you were going to take off, and you said, "I am not leaving because I've been
Nice.
here from the start." And it was like all part of that routine. So yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we all the same thing. You're watching somebody play well. It's like, I'm the reason that he's bowling well, right? No, you're not. You haven't done anything. But, you feel like you're responsible, and I don't want to mess him up, and I don't want to go away because he's coming back and talking to me after each time. So, yeah, we're all in it together, right? So. Yeah.
Oh, it's just funny sometimes, too. It's like people get in the way and you fucks everything up. Like, I remember Thursdays at Dakota, we were bowling on the bar side, so the high side of the house. And I started front 8, and then people from the other side of the league started coming over. But like I was sitting at a table with my dad in front of the bar, so like every time I'd go up, depending on what lane I was, I'd go around the table and like I'd take a certain path. When they started coming over, they kind of
Just block your path.
because they blocked my fucking way to the lane.
Yep.
Of course, my first ball in 10 is like fucking straight plowing through the middle.
Yeah.
Ugh.
We've got
It's
a
all about
bowler.
the path.
We've got a bowler here in Edmonton. It's a little bit more unique than others, and he has to enter the lane every time from whatever lane that he was starting on, right? So he's always got to come around. Yeah. But he's just a little bit more unique. It's a kind word for him. So
Yes, he is.
anyways.
I just want to shout out to Len. How do you even know a word that long?
Yeah.
What?
At this point of the night.
What is that? Wow. Good work, Lenny. Proud of you.
That's
Is
that's
it a real
copy-paste.
word?
That's for sure a copy paste. Yeah.
Yeah,
He looked it up first before he typed it in there. Yeah.
But I did want to circle back to on your curse of consistency there, Kyle, because there is one person that very dear to my heart in Rob Wolfson, who he's basically breathed that path basically his adult life that I've known him, and just to get to that 250 255 average, which is exceptional in almost every league around the country, but you come out on tour 255 260 doesn't even get you a snip to the cut, right? So finding ways to try to elevate your game, and that's one of the experience, and that's why getting out to these tournaments so you can elevate your tournament average by learning from some of the pros and everything. It's so important, and we're starting to see that even with somebody like Rob, where all of a sudden now he's able to average 265 270 and give himself a sniff or get into the cut line. It's disheartening to see some of those guys never really kind of get there, and it's almost like they don't have that extra level in the game, or they don't trust themselves to at least even get out and watch some of these players or play against some of these players to realize, yes, there is another gear to my game. I just don't know it yet. I haven't felt it yet, and then all of a sudden see them succeed in future years.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing, especially coming out there because of the competition thing. Like obviously that's the best thing about when you end up making a team for the master side of it. You're going up against when we're playing Alberta. Like I remember going to play Alberta, and you're playing, you're going up against Carey and all those guys. and you're hyped up because you're going against these high average guys and you want to perform right. So it helps you bring your game up too. So like I totally get that with the tour. That's kind of where my focus wants to be, is coming out to those to really see what I like. If I can hang with the big boys, not Captain Consistent.
Yeah, it takes work, it takes practice, and it takes making one cut really like a 10th or an 8th qualify and being like, man, I belong here, right? And then you believe.
And that's the whole thing with it, because it's not like it's not like I'm coming out there and I'm just crapping the bed. Like I play decent when I come out there. Like maybe my first time coming out to Regina, because it was more just getting the feel for it. And sticking on lane 2 on camera and making an ass of myself. The sniper didn't get me. I stayed up, but it was, it wasn't pretty.
For those guys that are just wanting to make that like little bit next jump, it honestly, truthfully, you just gotta trust that it really isn't that big of a jump. All it is like, maybe a little bit more consistent on your wood. Less anger shooting for head pins. Pick your sides, move on. And ultimately, it's just learning just small adjustments to eliminate one punch a game, and like you're there. That's it. Like that's all it takes, right? So
cleaning head pins, that's the biggest one right there.
Absolutely,
picking wood and making spares. You're right. It really comes down to 15 to 20 pins, and that's a good count on a spare. Right, or
the hardest part is, I think, you just look at the number. You know what the number is most times, and you're like, for most people, it's a daunting number, right? Yeah. And it really isn't if you break it down. Like like for example, like 272, Kyle. That's just say I just have to throw my average, right? I mean, exactly. It really, realistically, it's not. It's really not. Oh, I just have to bowl my average.
Well, no, and that's what I mean. Like everybody, when you get to past that 250 area, if you're playing a tournament like especially an 8-game thing, you can have a bad game in there. You can come back with something to make up those pins right there. It's in you. Yeah. So it's just a matter of not getting dragged down when you start having that game, right? So that's the mental side of it ends up taking off, right?
It's one good shot at a time.
It's just manipulating your brain, right? That's all it is.
Yeah.
Last topic, or we can talk about more other stuff, but I think a headband, something about somebody was texting me about a headband issue or something that Kyle might have had something to do with. What's this all about, Dex and Kyle? Do we know anything about this?
Kyle doesn't do this anymore, I don't believe, but we talked about this a few times, and it was a running gag with the WCBT, is that I love the guys, but they all know how much I love wearing a hat, bald guy problems. And, we go to tour finals, and I was told explicitly that I was not allowed to wear a hat. And jokingly, I'm like, if I'm not allowed to wear a hat, I'm going to wear something real stupid, like a bandana or something. And Carrie looked at me. Yeah, that's right. That's right. And Carrie looked at me, and he made the mistake of saying, if you want to look like an idiot, you're more than welcome to wear a headband. And I was like, all right. I am not the guy to back down at anything like that. So tour finals rolled around, and I asked Mark if he could make me a custom headband, and he promptly said no. So I messaged my buddy Kyle.
Nice.
And he made me up this beauty. And honestly, it's super comfortable. This is a very comfortable headband. I got to wear it I just wore it during the interviews during the tour finals last year. So if anyone's interested, go back and watch those. But the headband was where it was at.
This is not a hat.
This is not a hat. I made my statement.
Do you play with the headband, Kyle? Is that part of it?
Oh yeah. Yeah, like I started growing my hair out, like it was a while, like, and it was getting like pretty long. So like that was always the thing in Masters tournaments. Like, there's a dress code, like you're not supposed to wear hats and all of that. So I'm like, well, there's got to be a way I can get away with something at least. Like girls can tie up their hair and stuff like that. It's not like, and this goes back to like when I was playing like regional ball and all that. I used to like when I was like, it was in my teens, but like. I used to like just do stupid crap like Robin, right? I'd have my hair in like random pigtails all over the place. try to throw people off. So like when it came to
That-
bowling, and I'm like,
that guy. Yeah.
yeah, I'm that guy. So when it came to bowling, I'm like, well, what's a way that I can keep the hair out of my face when I'm throwing? Because I throw aggressive. Like you get long hair and you throw a thing and it just comes down right in your face. So like those soccer headbands, those little thin ones, I started wearing those. That's how it started. And then whenever we were playing like Master Senior and all that kind of stuff, whatever senior I was with, I'd bring them a matching headband. We could be team headband for the tournament. But like I remember Jimmy when he was president, Jim Llewellyn, he's like, okay, so I think there's something against the rules about you wearing headbands. Is that for religion? I'm like, yeah, religious purposes only. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, and it wasn't a problem. And then, yeah, I guess other people started wearing bigger and bigger headbands. So.
Yeah, well, I don't see a problem with it. I mean, the ladies can wear those little headbands, right? That pull
Yeah.
back a little bit.
Well, like
so.
when Aaron Elblast came out, like we have these ones are our matching headbands, so that's part of team headband right there. Then that was when I brought Dex's one. We were texting for a while on that one. I was trying to keep it secret. And when I went to pick it up, like I just started laughing my ass off. So I literally took a picture in the car, and I'm like, I'm literally crying because this is hilarious. And I walk up to the tournament. Like Randy and I left my house like Saturday morning to bowl the Saturday shift in Regina. So we just came for 5 hours. So we're just walking like after getting something to eat, and like so Karen's waiting by the door with Shauna and Johnstone. And Johnstone's just staring at me, and he's like, better not have brought something. And I'm like, you asshole. I got that from Carrie when I went downstairs, too, after I gave it to Dex. That was great.
I loved it. Yeah. There was no way I wasn't going to wear it at Tour Finals. You put in all that effort, and I was like, nope.
Yeah.
Nope, I don't care. I'm wearing it. This is awesome.
Interview was good. The interview was good.
I loved it.
Nice.
Yeah. So, yeah, I appreciate that. You don't do that anymore, though, right?
No.
You
I
stepped-
moved
you
on.
stepped
I moved on from that. Yeah. Yeah. It's a little different here in promotional marketing. Like some of the companies aren't as big as they used to be. With just it's the way the city is. So I ended up changing jobs. It was right before Regina that year. So yeah, comfortable now. So I can't complain.
Perfect. Well, this is something I will hang on to forever, and I'll probably break it out a few more times, honestly.
Cherish the headband. It'll bring you power.
That's right. I might even bring it to the Boxing Day tournament in a couple weeks. We'll see how many beers in I am. Yeah.
It's gonna wear it like a scarf.
That sounds like a challenge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep the sandwiches away.
Yeah.
That's right.
Love
That's
it.
right. Well, is there anything else you guys got to touch on? Kyle, do you have any last words you want to say? Any shout outs or anything like that?
No, just thanks for having me on. I know it was kind of short notice for Adam and I to jump on, but I had fun. Hope I didn't bore anybody.
Oh, great.
No,
Well, you're
you were
awesome.
great, yeah. Lots of great stories. Thank you so much for coming on. It's always so good chatting with you. We miss seeing you at the tournaments because we haven't had any, but really looking forward to, this next year being normal and us all getting together and having a few drinks together.
Yeah, it sounds like a plan.
Perfect.
Well,
Well,
Manitoba opened a go. I don't know if you said you know too much about it yet or what the story
I
is.
haven't heard too much, but like as far as I know, everything was supposed to just get pushed back, and it was supposed to happen this year. So I know my shifts are already booked because they just rolled over whatever they had from the year before. So hopefully everything's a go. Get you guys down in Winnipeg, even though it's possibly going to be cold if it's December. But the way it's been going with global warming, it's been pretty nice.
there's nothing colder than the week in Regina, so
Oh,
it'll be
that
fine.
walk.
Come here in February during that same week.
I'm okay.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Kyle,
Love it.
thanks so much for coming on, buddy. It's been a blast. If you want to stick around and hang out and have a chat with us at the end, you're more than welcome to. But thank you so much for coming on, man.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Good stuff. Thanks, Kyle.
Thanks, Kyle.
Awesome. That was great.
Yeah, nice, good interview. I didn't realize where the headband kind of came from, but it's funny. As soon as he put his headband on, I'm like, oh, I recognize you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was great. I gave Johnstone first crack. I thought that was only fair.
Oh yeah. Did he say no? He wouldn't make it?
Oh no, it was an outright no. It was
Oh, is
like,
that right?
It was a
Instant.
very
Nope.
not a chance. So that's why I went to Kyle. So
No, I think it's fine. It's good
Oh, it's
humor.
good.
It's all good, right?
Oh,
We need
totally.
that kind of shit. So
I love the fact that he was super into it too. Like he thought it was so funny too. So yeah, it worked out great. Somebody else who doesn't mind stirring the pot a little. It's good.
yeah. No, and you know what? Cool little story as he took a big break. Right,
Yeah.
a good 9 solid year break, and then he came back, and he's at the top of his game, right? And being a coach, being a player, being a single, he's right in the mix of Manitoba, and that's no small feat. A lot of good players there, right? Great conversation too, obviously about the Shannis family and the connection there, and hearing about Robbie, and obviously if he's playing again, we want to see him, coming back to tournaments and competing. But yeah, there's a lot of good players in that region, so they're in good hands for sure.
I gotta say, like taking that 9-year break off and then coming back and being as good as he has been, like that is super impressive because that period of time after YBC and into the adults and working your way into things, that is a big developmental period of time where people really gain ground and learn how to be at the top of their game. And kudos to him to take that 9 years off and come back and still be able to do that. Really awesome.
Well, the fact that he's still within sport, though, when he's taking that time off,
Yes.
the mind is always working, that sports mind. So, but for him to come back and, like you mentioned, get to near the top of the game in Manitoba is definitely a feat. And you start to wonder if maybe taking that time off just allows the mind to kind of retool the game. And when he got a little bit bigger there, all of a sudden he had to completely change his game.
Yeah.
Right, so maybe that was for the better in the long run.
And you know what he said? He said when he came back that he knew right away that he was having fun again after that break. And you know what? That's really the biggest thing that I hope people take away from this whole COVID experience is that here we are forced to have basically an 18-month hiatus from a game that we've played forever. And there's definitely people that were not missing it before and like not really looking forward to coming back. And I'm hoping that people, when they do come back, they're excited to come back. They remember it's a game. They remember that they're out here to have a good time, and that we lost the game for 18 months, and taking that time off again is maybe something people won't want to do because
For sure.
it is a game that we love.
Yeah, no, it was great having Kyle on. I mean, I have the utmost respect for Kyle. We got to know each other pretty well over the events we've got to bowl against each other on. I hope people can relate, like the time off he had and how he can speak from his experience on that and on the injuries and stuff like that. Pretty relatable for a lot of people out there, right? So it was great to have on and speak about his experiences. So I do like to thank Kyle for coming on today.
Yeah, good work.
We'll run our All-Star sweepstakes because I almost forgot. So, Weber, did you put your name in this week?
I did. I think I went after All-Star Draw. I think I did. No, I don't know which other ones I did. What was last week's that you guys didn't?
It was last week was All-Star giveaway.
Giveaway. All right. Yeah, I missed. Yeah, I believe I'm in this one.
We'll see.
I won't win, but I'm in.
All right, let's see who our winner is this week. Chris
Nice.
Dewar. Nice. He was
Very-
very active in the chats today. So
He commented a few times. I like it. Well
that's
done.
awesome. Chris, just send us a message or we'll send you a message and we'll get your information and we will go from there.
Congrats.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in once again. Another week of you guys listening to our banter. I appreciate it.
Tim's got a bunch of feelers out there, I know,
Yeah.
for next week and for weeks to come. Summer's a little bit challenging at times, but we've got a handful of people out there that we're working on, so we'll keep you posted as soon as we know who's coming on. But yeah, And bowling's back. It sounds like Ontario's back on Friday, so well done. Congrats, guys. You made it through. There's more and more bowling happening. So 8-gamer, pro team league, things are going to be starting to ramp up and get going again. So we're just as excited as you guys. So good luck on getting back into business and into lanes. So
yeah, I think we made it through, guys. I think we're there.
yeah,
Hoping.
sign up for your leagues. Get time to support the centers into league bowling too.
That's
Weber,
great,
thanks
Weber. Yeah.
thanks for jumping in again this week. We appreciate it. For those of you who don't know, it was Carrie and Julie's anniversary today, so congratulations to you guys. Julie, I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, that's like every second week thing. Maybe I can get my silhouette on your front page.
Yes, you know what? That's something else I screwed up. I put the wrong countdown to the
Oh,
start,
we
but,
noticed.
did you?
Yeah.
Did you? Nice.
I noticed some new music too. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
Dex is in charge. Yeah.
That's the old one, I
didn't notice
think.
until after. It was the old one. So we'll fix it up. My bad.
All good.
But good point, Len. Once tournaments start happening, we'll have a whole slew of guests wanting to get on and talk about their victory and tell us how they won and who they beat. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, the first week I'm going to be facing Carrie, and I'll just sit here and just trash talk him the entire time. That's fine. That's a whole podcast.
Adam might be on that podcast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of us might quit.
I don't bowl anymore, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're coming back.
I got to get out there and throw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You're on
It's been
our
almost a
team.
year.
So do all of us. Yeah, us too. Maybe we'll meet up over the week at the lanes.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
good.
sounds
Have a
good.
few beers.
Yeah. Or not.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. Good to have you guys all, and we'll see you guys all next week.
Take
See
care.
you
y'all.
later.
Take care, guys.
Thanks again to All Star and our sponsors and
Alley Cat.
Alley Cat, and I'll play the commercials, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye bye.
Cheers. Take care, guys.